Same thing it is to you? You tell me.
No, you tell me.
Just a feeling. It's just a feeling. And I'm not That's feeling something. Ow! I want to shake people up so bad that when they leave, where I performed, I just want them to be to pieces. I've always thought that I was shaking people up, but now I want to go at it more, and I want to go at it more deliberately, and I want to go at it coldly. I'll tell you what freedom is to me: no fear. I mean, really, no fear. If I could have that half of my life, no fear. Lots of children have no fear, 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 have no fear.
Hello, queens and kings. This is your host, Fee. You are now tuning into Free My Flaws podcast. We are up tonight or early this morning on a Monday at 12:44 a.m. I'm always a procrastinator. I'm trying to get better at that. But, pressure makes the best diamonds. So here we are. I would like to first of all say I am filled with so much gratitude for this moment for me. I'm extremely nervous because I took so long to figure out how I was going to say everything I want to, but I feel like I've told my story so many different ways at so many different times for so many people who needed to hear it, and this is like a first time I've ever had it released out to a mass audience. So please be patient with me as I untell this tremendous story of mine, and much gratitude for everyone who's tuning in right now and listening. This is a crazy experience for me, and I feel like each chapter of my story in my life, my journey, my path, I evolve and I learn so much of who I am. So this is a podcast to tell narratives about rediscovering self and the journey that we take and the experiences that we have along the way. I feel like it's really related to the emotion and the feeling, like knowing that there's nobody in this world that hasn't felt like this is completely insane. We've all had emotions similar to the experiences, and the experiences aren't always the same, but the feeling is. And I'm here to power up our people, educate our people, rediscover our people, learn about our history. That's what I'm doing. I'm striving to seek my higher self on a daily. So I hope you guys enjoy this first series that we have going on. Today we are going to talk about my journey, the first part of what I feel like I started at as an entrepreneur. So where do you even begin, right? How do you unravel a story about a journey of entrepreneurship? And it took me a second I think this part to narrow down and figure out. So I would like to start my senior year of high school, going into the fall semester. Senior year is so important. There's so many things to look forward to and so much of life you want to experience. You're bugged out because you're tired of being at your parents, and you feel like you're an adult because you're 18, and you just want to be free. And it's like, what does that even feel like? You don't have no clue. You've been under your loving parents. I don't want to say anything more than that, but I think it can be very struggling sometimes to be inside of that and not for sure or know who you are. And that's something you really have to experience for yourself. So we're going to start there. We're going to start there before I get too deep, because I can do that with everything. So it's my senior year of high school. I am in the math science magnet at Arsenal Technical High School. Shout out to all my class of 2009. But I'm very studious. I've always been a very studious person. I've gotten pretty decent grades, I would say. Definitely an A/B average student. So I knew that this was going to be my key gateway to go to school, go to college. I was so amped for college. Like, I didn't know anybody personally in my family who's been through a whole college experience. Just some people who's been and, didn't finish, and then, just not all the way full throttle. So it's my opportunity to do so. And I am part of a major community of people here in Indianapolis, 21st Century Scholars. So I had the opportunity in the 7th grade to sign up for the program, and, which was a very legit program. I mean, I was so knowing that I was going to get that. So I knew that opportunity was going to be there for me. But I didn't know that what was laid ahead for me. Like, you kind of feel like you got it planned out, and then there's these people and entities and other things that kind of makeshift or shift your idea of your opportunity. So I'm in my counselor's office, and I'm sitting there, and it's, we're going over, like, what is next for me? Like, what is this senior year going to look like for me? I've already took all the tests I needed to make sure I can go to college, took all my shots, got everything prepared. I had 3 schools that I was looking to go to, and he tells me that my grades are great. They're not like, I'm not no 4-point average student. I think I was like a 3.5-ish, maybe. I didn't end like that. But at the time, I was a 3.5, and I was, I thought I was going to get in, like, for sure. I thought I was going to get into college because of just how studious I've been all this life. I've been so studious. But he tells me that there may be a lack of opportunity to get into Indiana University. This is my number one choice, where my heart's desire was at, because of my ACT and SAT test scores were not that strong. And I felt so depleted. I felt like, man, first of all, I don't like either one of the tests. I think I like the ACT better than the SAT, but it's been so long now I can't even remember how that goes. But we did not learn all that stuff in school. And how are you supposed to do that and make everybody assimilate to this one test when everybody across the state of Indiana is not having the same protocol for education? And let's get that straight. It is not the same everywhere. We're not all receiving the same information, the same background. It's just different everywhere. And, looking at it now and seeing it back then, it's just kind of like absurd to me. But that's how I felt in that moment. Like, man, I might not get into school because of my test scores. And it's like, damn. So I'm an inward, emotional person. So, of course, I carry this heavy on my heart and on my shoulders. I still maintain good grades. It didn't push me either way then, but I was really, really wanting to go to Indiana University. Like, that was the school for me. So let's fast forward. It's towards the end of the fall semester. I am at my youth group at Shepherd Community Center. Shout out to Shepherd. Thank you so much for providing a safe space for me and fellowship with my beautiful friendships that I have to this day. But I'm at the after school program. I'm sitting at the computer desk and I am checking my emails. And as I'm looking across my emails, I see Indiana University. And I'm like, oh, it's an email though. So like, it's not a letter. I haven't got anything in the mail. So I'm not for sure what this email says. And, you know, I'm so anxious and so nervous because this is like the make or break me email. I feel like this is going to be like, you know, it's not a letter, one. Like, I always thought you got acceptance letters through the mail or disqualified letters or whatever they're called. But I'm waiting and I go ahead and click on it and I read it and I read it again and I read it again. And your girl got direct admitted to Indiana University. I was so geeked. It was like proven fact that these scores don't really matter. They don't really matter. The first person that, of course, was there is my youth pastor, Colby. I got to tell him first about it. And it was onward. Like, I was so excited for the opportunity. Now it's like plan time, right? Like, it's time to plan. It's time to gear up for school. I can now set goals and be ready. Because, mind you, I don't have no background. I don't know anything about college. I can't be like, hey, older elder, do you know? No, I have to figure it out on my own. So I was super, super excited. But let's fast forward again. Couple of things. One, before graduation, I had such a difficult senior year. I was tried emotionally. I'm not going to get too heavy in details because it really don't matter at this point, but I was emotionally tied. And so my situation is pretty particular. My FAFSA, right? We all have to fill out our FAFSA. But the issue is that my FAFSA is not your typical FAFSA, okay? Just a small snippet. Like, I'm not going to explain this story because it's too much of a story to say in this piece. But when I was younger, you know, my mother had left me and my brother. And she was key to the whole legal guardianship of everything. I've had a fruitful life. I've had a bountiful life. There's no sadness in saying this part. Please don't get sad by me saying that. But I say that to say that my father never adopted me, but he's raised me all my life. He's not my biological father, but he has raised me ever since I was 6 months old. So FAFSA is just based off of income, you know, but from your legal guardianship of your parents. So, and then my biological father, I've never met him, so he's passed. So there's no connection of me trying to figure out how I can find my mother because she's been gone. And then two, I've never met my father. He's gone. He's passed. So now I am stuck. There's deadlines. I'm so terrible at deadlines. Like I said, I'm trying to get better at that, but I'm pressured, right? I'm like not for sure what it is that I got to do. And in that moment, I'm like, if I don't get this FAFSA, it's like, man, how am I going to be able to go to school? Because I know my dad, he can't afford it. My family can't afford it. To go to IU, there's no way. There's just no way. So there's another thing I have to do in order to get through that. In that process, I had to prove my status of my mother basically leaving me and my brother. So I had to get letters written. I write a letter my youth pastor writes the letter, and then my cousin Roger writes the letter. Shout out to my cousin Roger. I love you so much. That was so difficult because I think you feel like you get over something in a moment of like somebody being out of your life, and then it's just like this reoccurring thing that you're just like not all the way emotionally through yet, but it's a part of your journey, so you have to describe that to people to prove your financial state of being to receive money, especially a full ride to IU. And it was almost a reminder, kind of one of them reminders that you're like, man, like, do I have to make a letter about this? Do I have to talk about this? But I did, and it got me into school. So I always look at that moment and several moments that tie into it, but I won't go into deep descriptions today. But because of my mom, I was able to get a full ride to IU with no worries, other than me not for sure knowing if it was going to work. But it worked out for me, and you know, I will always be of gratitude of that, especially now, not knowing how much of the impact then as much as I do now, but with so much depthness that has provided me a whole ride to IU. Now it's orientation day at Indiana University. I am geeked. You get these little booklets that you fill out beforehand. I have all my shit together, okay? I have the classes that I need to take in each category. Like, I haven't even been out of school that long. I can't even remember all of them. But, you know, I have all my basic needs for my education all laid out. My father and my madre at the time was there with me, and they're like big ass kids. Like, neither one of them went to school, not for college, and they're like, even when I had a visit, they were just like not even paying attention to a lot of it. And it's funny to me because like this was my opportunity, so it really didn't paid them any need, but it's just so interesting looking back on it. Like, they didn't have to worry about me knowing what classes or trying to determine, you know, I was given choice. And that's like one of my biggest things about opportunity is choice. Like, I got to decide what I wanted to do. Like, if I didn't want to go to college, it would have been no big a deal. Like, it would have been like, oh, you're suffering and you won't succeed in life. Like, it's never been like that for me. I had the power to see and seek for myself in that mode. So I was geeked. You know, you go through orientation. It's like a 2-day process. I thought like I was going to be able to stay on campus, but my dad was like, hell no. He wants to sleep in his whole bed, so we're going to drive all the way back and come back the next morning to do it again. And there's just small things that I remember, like I remember signing up for my classes and being like super like, okay, this is it. This is what I got to do to get a degree, right? These are the steps that I gotta do. And at this time, I am majoring in psychology. I'm thinking like, I've had such a tribe of people around me that's helped me guide and learn in being able to be the best fee. And I'm like, I want to do that for others. I just want to help people. How can I help people? Ooh, I'm gonna do psychology. So I'm getting ready to take select my classes, and one of the biggest classes that I remember receiving input back, which was really interesting to me, was a class where this guy hands me this paper, and I'm, not thinking anything about it, but he's just saying, good luck with this. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I have no idea what it means. And it's finite. And if anybody knows what finite is, it is a probability course, basically. It's the whole semester is talking about probability. And now when I think about it, it's pretty interesting, but back then it's like, no, we had literally one section of a whole chapter about probability. It was like, maybe like, you might have had like 2 to 3 questions on a test for it. So I had no idea what I was doing. I was struggling so bad. I had no idea what to expect from college. Now, I was studious. I think that I got it right. But no, this class was terrible. So terrible. So, rewind. Fast forward. You know what I mean. Skip over this part. I'm going too long on it. But I am now, settled in. I'm ready. I'm starting my semester. I got a roommate. I live in dead center of the campus, right quad. I'm in the academic study. It's mixed between boy and girl, every other floor. I am on it. At the time, y'all, so don't anybody get upset to any of my IU alums. Right food court was the best food court at the time. It was just everything. I'm also working in the food court, so I get a lot of learning from there. That's where the first time I ever seen like the biggest international group. Especially me being half Asian. I've never been around so many Asian students, so it's like eye-opening to me across the world. So I'm learning. I'm taking things in strides. I failed finite 3 times to find out that I don't need it for my degree. They don't tell you these things, these counselors that they have for you. So I end up doing calculus, which is way better than me. I still don't do amazing at it. I mean, everybody has to be graded on a curve, so thank God for curves, because that's how everybody passes the class. But I'm going through it, and I am loving psychology. I have this most amazing professor. Her name is Irene, and I don't want to butcher her last name, but if anybody knows who Irene is in the psychology department at IU, she's a tremendous professor. I mean, she made me really intrigued by it. And the mind is such an amazing thing, so I think most people would be intrigued by psychology. But now I'm no longer taking Irene's class. I think this is I'm done with my first semester. I'm going into my second semester, and now we're down to technical things in psychology. And one of the classes I'm taking is a class for test modules. It's test modules for basically in IU, you could they would have all these tests that you could take, and you could get paid for it, right? And they'll be experimental tests. So it's like seeing how many times you say you see an image, and how many times when you see it does it make you happy. You either press one button to make you happy, or it doesn't make you happy. It's one of those things, and I am not liking it, and I am struggling in that class. I'm not doing good in it. But simultaneously, I am now taking a non-majors class for digital arts, a Photoshop class. It's in 101. And I took a little bit of digital art in high school, but it was not anything. I didn't really retain anything off of that. So I'm in school now, dueling out these 2 classes, and I'm starting to be creatively like driven in this Photoshop class. Like, I'm having so much fun. I think so one of my very first projects, shout out to Latanya, I appreciate you, queen. She is my very first model. Okay, my very, very first model is Latanya. You get that credit, queen. That's all yours. But basically it was the one, and I'm like, at this time, like, I have no concepts in mind. I'm really trying to just get good at technique. There's people in that class that can do so many things, and they're so amazing, and I have like a basic like kindergarten Photoshop experience. So I don't even remember what the project was about or what it was for, but I remember like what I did do it on. It was Latanya, and she was basically sitting in a chair. There's 3 chairs together, and Latanya was multiplied 3 times, so I had her in 3 different outfits in different eras. And in the middle, she is present day, so she's her present day self there. And I think on either the left or right side, I can't remember which side it is now, but one side is her sitting there in like a 60s type, 50s type look, where she's looking at like Latanya's phone. She has like books in her hand, and she's well, you guys get the picture. I put the picture on there. But basically, it's about decades, and about how times have changed, and about how much of we have present now is what we did not have prior, due to evolving with technology. So that's basically what the project was about. And I loved it. I loved, we put together outfits. Like, I guess that's one of my first time styling, asking her, like, I need this, do you got that? And, it's so dope, like, looking at that now. I'm actually having an epiphany moment in this conversation, but knowing, like, that's what was happening. That's what I was doing. I was actually styling in that moment. That's so crazy to me. Shout out to Latanya again. I love you, girl. My cousin. So yeah, I'm taking that class. I'm loving every digital part about it. It just spiked creativity in me, and I was so awed by it. So now, at the arts department at IU, they held a lot of free lectures, and at the free lectures, you can literally see like almost anybody. I'm so glad that I got to experience this, because this is literally what switched my major. So I'm in this free lecture. I have no idea. I'm by myself. I'm not with anybody, because I heard about it in my design class, which is a non-majors class. So it's not like you're in there with people that you know. And IU is a big school, so it's not like the odds are gonna be knowing. But maybe, I think I might even went because it was extra credit. That's sad to say, but I took advantage of the free lectures after that. So this lecture was actually about design. It was a design lecture, and it's about this man, and I feel so bad, but I can't remember names, but I'll never forget him, and I'll never forget his story. But he's talking about his journey going graphic design, by the way, because of Photoshop and whatnot. I was into graphic design. I was like, wow, this is one of the coolest things ever. So graphic design is the lecture topic. And he starts talking about his journey, about what he goes through to become this head person in graphic design. And I'm so awed by it, because he's talking about like how he has negative in his bank account, and he's about to do an internship that's not going to pay him any money. Like, he's going to go into a whole city, a new town, with no money, negative in his bank account, to get this opportunity for design. And then he talks about all these really cool places and the experiences where he gets to develop and curate to direct people through design. And like a couple of things, and again, I apologize, I don't know this off the top, I didn't write this down or anything, this is really off the top of my dome, but I can't remember what it is in detail. But I know, like, one of them was that he started a whole community newspaper for a small town that's never had a newspaper before. I thought that was so dope. He also builds, like, this park / kennel space for animals, and I say kennel with not knowing a better word for it, but it's a safe space. It's a community space. Like, people get to use it in and out of the space, and just so many really cool things. And as he develops his story and he goes on, he lands an enormous opportunity, especially this is in 2009, by the way. And so this would have been prior to that particular time, since he's already experienced everything up to this moment. But he becomes the head graphic designer for Facebook. And that's like crazy to me, that he goes through all this life experiences to realize that, or not even to know, but know that something big is about to happen, and he gets the opportunity to design for probably the most major at that time platform for social interaction, Facebook. And that lecture there is what made me change my perspective and make me really question, like, what am I doing? Like, he got to help people through design. He got to help people through visual creativity. And I think that was my blockadedness, was that I've never experienced a community of creators before, not in a light of this, not like this. Like, I've never seen an art community before. College was my first experience of seeing art, like seeing a community. This is lit. So I believe this is May. Yeah, so this is my second semester of I want to say it's my freshman year. It could have been my first semester or sophomore year. You gotta forgive me. Everything kind of blends together after so long. But either or, I now decide that I am no longer going to be graduating with a psych degree. I'm not gonna do it. It's done for. I took all these classes for psych. I took so many classes for psych, and luckily they did end up working. I don't think I lost too much time in it. But now I'm shifting everything to get an art degree in a concentration in graphic design. One of the best decisions I could have ever made. So yeah, that was my freshman year. So it's the beginning of sophomore year. I am geeked. Shout out to refund checks. I wish I did handle my money better, but yeah. But I did make a great investment, and I still have it to this day, is what I thought. Because at IU, they have a whole bunch of Mac computers. So they're Mac crazy. Like, they got Macs everywhere. And I thought it was the most sexiest computer to ever have. So what did I get with my refund check that summer? I got me a desktop Mac. I thought it's still, I mean, they got so much sleeker. So the next one, of course, was thin as hell. You can't put anything in it. But it's sleek. It's so sleek. It's so sexy. I'm so excited. I remember being on the floor at my grandpa's house, like, just no internet connection or anything, but like taking it out of the box, turning it on, hearing that Mac sound when you the power button. We all know what that sounds like, and being so excited to have this computer, because I know I'm about to maximize all my opportunity with this computer. It's just going to make all the things I need just experience so much more. And we're in it now, y'all. We switching, we transferring, switching over to our degree. It's lit, right? It's lit. I am loving my classes. One of my favorite classes was actually a color theory class. Absolutely loved it. I always have probably the best experiences with grad students. I feel like I learn a lot from them because they're still learning. So it's like an exchange. So I do the color theory class. Absolutely love it. I'm also taking this photography class. Actually, I do take a intro to photography class. I think that following semester I take a higher level photography class, and another graduate student at that time, he was from Florida. He graduated from a school in Florida, doing his MFA here, and super, super great. I was really, really into photography at the time. Like, I was so excited for it, and he taught me how to edit pictures for real. Like, I still use this exact same system now when I edit my photos now, out of raw settings, and he showed me how to do that. And I can't remember his name, but shout out to him. I still use that technique today. Thank you. And there's so many classes, okay? Like, there's so many classes that I get to experience. And things I don't like, right? I would consider myself not the best draftsman, meaning illustrator, drawer, pen and paper, pencil and paper, charcoal and paper, whatever you want to call it. I like to say I'm more of a eclectic multimedia person. So I like to utilize all different things to create one piece. So collages are really my thing, for real. But just a piece of paper and a pencil or a chart, oh my gosh. Still life drawings. I would be in classes with people and just be like, man, they did that in like literally 10 minutes. Like, they have the drapes in the back. Drapes are so hard to draw, by the way. And just like stuff like that, I'm like, man, I do not understand why I have to do this. Like, this is not fun. But when I get it now, though, I really do get it now, though. The fundamentals of art is so important, and you need to be able to carry that knowingness. Everything starts out with a sketch, and that's how I look at it. If I really, 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 really focus, I can do that. Like, I could really, really draw something. But it's not my thing. It's not my favorite thing. It's not what I'm into. So I'm loving, experiencing art, though. I've never seen it before. I'm around a whole bunch of kids who can create, and they can do stuff that I've never seen before, and be around people like that who's probably always had this. But for me, it was me recognizing that I've always had a urge to be creative and always know I wanted to create. I was one of them kids that drew with crowns and had it put up at the teacher's desk. Like, I wanted them to have it and have awards for it. And I remember in middle school having an opportunity to figure out that I could draw. Like, there's this kid named Brandon Bob. I will never forget Brandon Bob. Shout out to Longfellow Middle School, School 28 on the southeast side of town. Brandon Bob could just sketch like crazy. He would draw Mickey Mouse and Daffy Duck and just cool images. I know he did this one of Wolf, and mind you, Brandon Bob, I still have that image that you drew of Mickey Mouse. I have it in my scrapbook, and another one of a bull. I'm not a creepo. I just think your work's great, and you really can draw. So thank you for inspiring me. But I had a class, and I can't remember her name. I feel so bad, but she was this elder lady. She had this beautiful birthmark on the side of her face and wore glasses, gray hair, brown skin. So sweet, so kind. She spoke in a very soft voice. But I don't think I learned a lot from her other than kindness. But I forced myself one day to draw an image, and it was a hand that we need to draw, and it was a hand holding a cylinder. And I looked at my hand, and I envisioned it, and I imagined the cylinder being a candle, which is so crazy as a reference to now, but we're not going to get into that. But I draw it, and when I finished it, I was like, I can draw. I was so amazed by that. Like, I could not believe it. And that's when I started to try to draw Daisy Duck. So I tried to draw Daisy Duck, which I still have that picture that I drew. And then just small things, like I made a whole creative scrapbook. It's from 7th grade up to my senior year of high school, made out of construction paper and markers and stickers. Nothing nothing like how scrapbooks are now today. This is pre me knowing what a scrapbook really was, but that's what I made. And small things like me, in high school, I would make like digital images for people. We had a desktop computer. It was like a Windows PC, but on one of the programs that we had was a Curator program, which was really, really cool because you got to do a lot of stuff with that. So I got to experience. So they had these crazy like rainbow things that you can do with it, and backgrounds, like so many different things. And then I can't remember this name. Somebody please comment below if they remember what this site was called. But it was basically this site where you can edit your images. And I still have the folder on my Facebook, so if anybody wants to check it out, they can. But basically, I would make it for like, I think I call it for the best or something like that. But I would just take somebody's profile picture on Facebook or MySpace and recreate a profile picture for them. So I would mask out the background, make it like, I did a lot of black and white and pop a color. So I would do a black and white, and then I'd do a pop a color, and then it would be something like totally, unique for them, and I would write their name on the side of it, and it would be really cool. And then, those are like the moments that I remember, like me having touches of like art being around me, not knowing the influence or the impact on me. Spending summers at my grandpa's job, working at the desk. And mind you, this is not like a beautiful like office job, okay? It's at basically a warehouse with a lot of dirt coming in and out. It's hot. It's not luxury, but the biggest thing for me was like sketching, and I would sketch these really ornate kind of curvature designs, and I would also do script a lot, so like write my name, rewrite my name. We had a photocopy machine, and I would photocopy like an image over and over again until I got it to be traced over it with no tracing paper. This is just with white copy paper, and just try to get the image down exactly how I wanted to. I still have some pieces from that time too. So it's just like small things that I'm like, man, I've always been into it. My senior year, I was editor-in-chief of our yearbook, which we hadn't had for the past, I think, 2 to 3 years, maybe 2 years. It was a big project, something that we, as a team of people, try to execute. Shout out to Eric Gama, Theo, Shanez Chavez. I know I'm forgetting some names, Titileo. I know I'm forgetting names, and I'm sorry. There's a lot of people to give thanks to in a moment, but those people help. Shout out to Mrs. Jessie. She is one of my favorite teachers at Arsenal Technical High School. She really inspired me. I think she was one of the she was a journalism teacher. She was the one that piqued interest in me, and I didn't take full advantage until I went through an experience. But thank you so much, Miss Jessie, for being a part of my journey, because I basically put that on my transcript for applying to IU. So thank you for the opportunity. But yeah, just like moments like that where art has always been inclined to me and not knowing what it looked like. I would have never had chosen art. I don't want to say never, but I think there would have been a less likely chance for me to experience art if I didn't go to college, because I've never seen a community that was surrounded by it. And college got me the opportunity to understand what that was for me. So I will always be so grateful for that opportunity. So yeah, let me not get too more indulged because I can keep going again. We are now in the grind time mode. We are experiencing, we are learning, we are taking everything in. But my junior year, is it my junior year? My junior/senior year, what was so technically my senior year, by the way, I did a 5th year. I am going through it again. And again, I'm not going to go in heavy details, but I will say that I lost myself in so much of partaking in divulging into a relationship that wasn't necessarily needed for me. And I say that with much respect to my counterpart at that time. And I say that meaning that when you're in relationships, you tend to lose focus on self. And especially during that time, it's such a primal time to investigate yourself. I literally went into school with a whole relationship. Like, I didn't do a lot of activities in school because of that. I was very guarded. I didn't socialize with too many people. Hell, even the closest friends that I have now that I got out of a college, I wasn't even close with them at that time. And this is my junior year of college, okay? And a lot of people didn't know me. I didn't know a lot of people, and I don't regret anything, but I do look back on that and be like, man, I didn't take full advantage of my college experience. But it's okay. I say that with assurance. It used to bother me, but it don't bother me anymore now because I know my purpose. But at that time, I was going through it, and when I tell you I went through it, I went through it. My energy was depleted. My world was struck. My heart was broken. I was so hurt. I was so hurt. And I went through so many experiences with that, but we could talk about on that another day. But what ends up happening is that I completely failed all of my classes my spring year. I believe it was my spring year of my senior year. And I say this again, I failed all of my classes besides one class. And guess what that one class was? It was Intro to Printmaking. And if anybody knows what printmaking is, it's like a multiple medium of what printmaking can be. So you have litho, which is done with etching into a stone. And then we have intaglio, which is etching that you do in copper plates. And then you have relief, which can be really done with anything, but we did it in wood carving. And then printmaking in silkscreen, which is my absolute favorite, which is basically if you guys get screen prints on shirts, that's basically what it is. But to me, it was a pre-Photoshop. This was what you would build your work with before you had Photoshop, was definitely in layers with a screen. I was mesmerized by it. I aced that class. It was my release. I learned a lot in this moment. about what it was for me, it was like the opportunity to work with my hands. And I never understood how much, especially in that moment, I never still until now, what type of release. If you ever see me in person or ever get to talk to me in person, I talk a lot with my hands. I don't really like to sit down too long. I want to move around a lot. So I got to do that with printmaking. It's a very hands-on art. You have to do a lot of things standing and moving. There's a press that you got to use to apply the inks, and it's just so different. And I love silkscreen, and I love intaglio. I would love to do more intaglio later, but definitely silkscreen has got to be my favorite form of tangible physical art. Way better than drawing for me, way better than 3D work. It's right up there with collage work and design. It's just like everything to me. But I failed everything else though, yo. I had no motivation. I would go to class. I went to every class, but I was so hurt. I just come to my room and just sleep and cry and sleep, not eat and sleep, and just have so much anxiety about losing somebody, and feeling like, man, what did I do, was like probably the biggest thing. I'm a self-inflictor, so I would look at the result and just put it on me, and that's so terrible. That's not healthy. Just to let you guys know, that's definitely not healthy. And I was just so pained by that, and from that experience, it was really hard for me moving forward. I had a really, really hard time gauging myself that. And if anybody has failed amount of classes, and when I say failed all my classes, I was probably taking a 12 to 14 credit hour class. So I failed all of them. And again, I didn't know anything. I didn't talk to nobody about my feelings or my emotions or what I was going through. So I didn't know I could withdraw my classes at a certain point in time. So not only did I fail all my classes, but I lose hella money from that because I got to redo a whole nother year, a whole nother semester, basically. And it is terrible. Like, I can't even explain how bad that moment was. It's like one of those life-turning moments for me where it's like choo-choo, switch out. And then what ends up happening is that summer I have to write a letter to the dean. I have to prove myself this year. I'm on academic probation. I have to do a lot of different things now, and I still struggled. And I probably have my days and years mixed up right now because I can't remember everything, but I am in a whole panic. And mind you, things aren't going good. Like, within that same time frame, I tried to apply for the BFA program for design at IU. Didn't get in. I was sick. I had a whole earache. I couldn't hear, and my voice was lost. It was so bad. And I had to do a presentation, and it was terrible. It was so terrible. I wasn't ready. Mentally, I wasn't ready. Emotionally, I wasn't ready. Physically, I wasn't ready. I looked great, though. My outfit was bomb. I'll never forget. It's like this mustard blazer with like the inside of it was like this brown leather on the collar, and then on the buttons it was brown, and the pockets had like the little brown trim leather on it. And then I wore these maroon pants, and the shirt I probably had on was white, and then my shoes were two-tone color where it was all white with accents of brown. So cute. My hair was long, so I had bangs cut, and it was straight long. It was so beautiful. But yeah, I didn't get that. So I'm just like, man, I am not setting my future up. That's all it came to. It's like, I'm failing at school. I'm not having my future set up. I am now alone. I feel like I'm alone. And I really have to when I'm at my lowest, I'm sure most people can relate at this, but at this point of my lowest, I have to deep dive. Like, I gotta really dig deep inside, because mind you, I haven't talked to anybody. I didn't tell anybody about my experience. That my closest girlfriends might know to a degree of it, but not everything, and it's kind of a shameful thing for me that I allowed myself to lose my whole momentum over in a relationship, and not find drive. So it's kind of like, man, why would if I had one of my friends and be like, girl, why are you tripping, why are you doing that, and that's the shame part of me that I recognize now. But knowing that that's what I had to deal with and what I had to go through was just like crazy, so crazy. And then, everything kind of is like jumbled in between. I'm working hella a lot. I'm working so much at the food court, and I also have a job at Route 21 in Bloomington. Shout out to Carol. She's a quick story about that. I went to Carol. I went to Route 21 like every other week to see about getting this job. Like, this is my first job, by the way, working retail, and I really, really wanted to get it. And I came every other week, like asking about my application and seeing if I could get a job, and I got the job. I got the job after the interview that day. It was so nice. And Carol is a special person to me. I love her tremendously. All the Route 21 crew, Shanice and Nick, you guys are my embodiment of Rue and Carol, and Gina, thank you all for providing such a safety net for me. A family, which I always say this, I get probably the standard version of the most epic version of how everything should be paired to, because no other job of retail experience was like that working for me at Route 21 in Bloomington throughout my college years. But yeah, let's get back to it. I am now having a very hard time transitioning into now my victory lap year. I call it my victory lap year. And we are struggling, people. We're at the fall semester, and I'm having to talk to my professors to explain to them what type of mental, emotional I'm going through. And I'm glad that I did that, because they really they saved grace me, meaning like I had to prove myself still, but they allowed me to challenge myself to do better, and I got to do that. All my professors let me do that. Matter of fact, I was taking a creative art book class at the time. I also was taking another class into my second level into printmaking, or maybe this is my junior year. I'm sorry, y'all. I get things backwards. But either way, all my people, they saved grace me, but I really, really, really had to work hard to get like C's, okay, y'all? Like, I think I got a couple of C's and a couple of B's and maybe an A. An A was probably in silkscreen for sure. But yeah, I know I got all this backwards, but don't mind me, y'all. To just get the gist of it, I struggled, okay? And then my spring of my senior year, I am elated. I think I went through a whole spiritual process. There's some conversations and some things that had to be said that got said, and things were forgiven. And I got to bypass some things that were inside, lock into my heart, into my mind, and I got to release. So my senior year of spring semester, I did great, y'all. I did so good. I was taking 300 to 400 level classes, passing them with A's and B's. I did so great. There's a couple of classes that really struck out to me. One was a 400 level class. It was called Design Innovations, and I can't remember the guy's name, of course, but he allowed me to see design in physical spaces. We had went to Columbus to the hospital there, and he had been working with the diabetes department to figure out about how to make the impact with patient and doctor's relationship more cohesive and more exchangeable. And I thought that was so cool of a class that he was able to get us to experience interpretation. Shout out to Eric Gama, by the way. He put me on that class. I still remember that class to this day. And then of course I took the next level, 400 level of silkscreen. Absolutely loved it, loved everything about it. I have some of my favorite work from that class. I still have it. It'll be for purchase if y'all want it. Y'all didn't want to pay for it back then, but if you guys got money now, they're for sale. Tagline out. But yeah, I'm loving it. I'm also taking a typography class, which is something really special to IU. They actually have type beds where you get to individual place type on a bed and actually press it out for print. Something very, very unique. Not all universities have that, so I was so glad to get to experience that. And y'all, I am by myself this year, okay? Like, I'm by myself. All my people are gone and graduated, okay? Because they graduated the year before I did. And then, you know, I want to say thank you to Ariel for being my roommate. She ended up staying an extra year with me. I do not know what I would have done without Ariel. She found our place, which was a condo, which was nice but not nice, meaning that it was nice for what we could get it for, but it was cheaply made, and they had the rules there. It was so crazy. And of course they made a lot of money off of us. We lived in the basement. It was like smaller things, but Ariel found a great spot for us, and I thank you for that, sister. Like, for real. I love you too. I love you so much. And yeah, I'm alone, but not alone. I'm still going through some things, guys. And again, it's nothing to really dive into. This for other conversations later if it needs to be talked about. But I am making it, you know, and I am now about to graduate college, guys. Like, I am finally about to graduate. I made my cap. It's called Victory. I put Victory across of it for my Victory lap. It's a design that I made for one of my screen prints, but it's Lady Victory, the Greek goddess for Lady Victory, if you guys ever want to look her up. It's based off of Nike's wing, Nike's logo. It's the wing of the Greek goddess Victory. A little education tip on there for y'all. But that's what happens, guys. I finally graduate. Like, I finally make it. I still, though, have to spend I don't have to, right? But I do. I spend a whole summer at IU for one damn class. I needed one more class in order to graduate. Ain't that crazy? But I'll never forget this class either. It was a textiles class. I wish I took more advantage of that. But I didn't. While I was in college, but I'll never forget that experience. I keep all my notes from that class. I have tons of stuff that I'm gonna use now for it as a resource. But one of the cool things about IU is that, and this is for people so they know for reference, I know IU's gotta be a way different school now. It's been a minute, y'all, but one of my coolest things about IU is that they had natural dyeing for the textiles class, and they actually have indigo vats there, so that they literally have to turn these vats of indigo on a daily. And indigo is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful blue, rich color. It is like so, and it's a plant, so it grows, and you can use it for natural dyeing. You can use indigo for a lot of things, but we was using it for natural dyeing. So one of the special things about IU there. So I have to take one more class, and with that, guys, like, I don't have no internships. I don't have a resume. I hated all of my design work. Not all of it, but a lot of it. I didn't have nothing pairing. I had no idea what I was going to do. I just wanted to graduate so bad. And that was really the goal. Like, fuck trying to get a career job. Like, I don't know what I know I'm going to get a job, but it's probably not going to be in design. And that's what ends up happening, right? I am now at the end, victory. I have a beautiful graduation. I'm sitting down next to Bo, which is somebody that I worked with at IU. I'm so glad I actually got to see somebody new graduate with me. Mind you, again, I use a big ass school, so you're not gonna like see people you just know right away. So you guys are literally all doing the same thing. Shout out to all my family and friends that were there to see me graduate. It was so chaotic afterwards. I literally had the jankest phone. My iPhone had depleted on me, so I had to take my dad's Android. I love you, Daddy, but that phone was terrible. Mind you, Androids aged quicker than iPhones, and this was his old Android phone. I can't even remember which one it was, but the batteries died all the time, so I didn't have any communication. My family had to find me. I stand in the front of the building. They don't know what the front or the back is, but they ended up finding me, and I succeeded. You know what I'm saying? I finished out something that I know that was very important to me. I was the one that did it. I took all the classes. I took all the strides to make it there. I completed with a degree that I wanted to do, that I found fruitful and enjoyable, and I still reference a lot of what I've learned from college to this day, and I never take away those experiences. Like, those are what I have goals for now. Like, I want to travel to Europe so I can see all the medieval art and all the basilicas. And I would have never had experienced art and know what certain things were if I didn't see it in a class. Like, knowing what a buttress is. Like, I would have never understood what that was if I didn't go to college. And I'm so thankful for that experience. Like, I would have never found art. I would have never found design. And that's what led me to my next chapter, which is not going to be said right now because it's too much to talk about. But that's what we're going to talk about next. The next chapter is going to be a continuation of this experience, my journey, because that's what it is, guys. It's a journey. So continue to tune in and listen in on me. I'm going to be sharing so much more, so please keep listening and stay in tune. I would like to now give out some shout outs for the podcast with the intro that you guys listen to. It's powered by Kids of the Sky. Shout out to my baby for making, he's one of my favorite people when it comes down to music. He helps bridge all the gaps for me. We'll sit down and rebound with each other and have discussions about like a vision that I have. And I literally get to soundboard and break down my thoughts with him. And then as the process goes, he gives me that knowingness and that credit to figure it out. So thank you so much for allowing to soundboard with me and always executing the message with the sound and the visual. He's really great at what he does. At Kids of the Sky, all social media platforms. and you'll be able to tune in to his music as well as there. You gotta follow him. He's my favorite rapper. So Soulful Sounds, you definitely gotta check him out. Shout out to Nina Simone. She was the inspiration for the intro in Unbreakable by Alicia Keys. That was mixed by a couple of different people and different things, and I just figured out who the sample was from, and I forget his name, but shout out to the man who sung Soulful on that track, and Kanye West for producing it. I absolutely love my intro, y'all. It's a part of my daily list of listening in the morning. It's a part of my waking up. And then also shout out to all my beautiful collective people, that my art community here, that I've grown and known to. It's been a journey, and you guys have inspired this moment for me to educate and talk about this story and other stories as well, because it's not only about me, it's about everybody too, who I'm going to have the opportunity to engage and get to talk about. So shout out to all of y'all. Shout out to my family. I love y'all tremendously. All the people who stand strong with me aside of this. The Glow Queen, thank you so much. She works with me continuously, always on developing me and who I am, and experiencing and creating with me. I'm so thankful for you. You are a light to me. Thank you for Heidi, for Future Friends, part of my collective group of people here in Fountain Square area, the Murphy Building. I want to give so much gratitude for you sharing and your platform and opening your space for it to be held with light. You are tremendously valued, and I get to experience the opportunity to still exist here in Fountain Square to this day. And then to all y'all beautiful faces, there's so many people to list off, and I don't want anybody to feel any type of way about it, because then I could do this for a whole nother hour talking about all the beautiful people who are a part of this. But just know that you guys are light to me, and that's what I get as a return, is to be light to you, because I am a reflection of you, and this wouldn't have happened without that energy being receptive. So thank you so much. Like, I don't want to cry, so I'm not gonna do that, but I am so humbled by this experience. Like, I can't even explain that even more, but there's gonna be more, y'all. There's gonna be so much more. So be on the lookout. Fee Vintage is about to pop up online here very, very soon. When I mean soon, like within the next week. I will tell y'all that you must check it out. These are exclusives. Like, I don't get to show y'all what I really have, and nor have I ever sold anything online before. So this is for y'all. So check out the website. That's where you're gonna find all my pieces. That's styledbyfee.com, styled with a D by Fee, FEI.com. That's where you're gonna check me out at. And then just a couple things to keep note of. Every first Friday here at the Murphy Building, I say here because that's where my shop is, with my mama, the Glow Queen. You can come here and experience a whole culture of artists that are COVID safe, so everything's done within a distance, and you must wear a mask, but you can get some clothes there that aren't online. You get the better deals because you get to see them first, and then you get to see a whole bunch of entrepreneurs doing their thing, sharing their passion, experiencing the energy. Like, you gotta come out for that. Also on the 20th of this month, Johanna Design is having an event, an art and crafts party on Bonona, which is in Irvington. I'll have a link below where you guys can check out the flyer, but come see me there, as well as the Glow Queen and many, many other artists as well. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. If there is, I'll keep you updated, guys. I don't want to take much more of your time, but thank you so much for being a part. And remember to always protect your energy and seek for your higher self. I love y'all.
Lately I've been having
Peace.
too many conversations with conscious women and too many confirmations that I'm that nigga, right? Got so many obligations for my decisions, not to mention constantly dominating my competition, right? Baby, I'm somewhere in the Sahara fishing, riding camelbacks, eating Amish chicken, praying for time.